So, where does innovation end and where does exploitation begin?
It's not just a philosophical question anymore, is it?
Not at all. It's the core, the existential conflict that's just ripping through the creative industry right now. And today, this entire conversation centers on a single, deeply uncomfortable challenge to the heart of Hollywood, Tilly Norwood.
Tilly Norwood is a real watershed moment. For you, the listener, this deep dive it's a necessary shortcut to understanding the dizzying complexity around Hollywood's first fully AI actress.
Right.
We have to look past the sort of tech spectacle and drill right into the ethics, the murky legality, and the sheer labor dynamics this whole case exposes.
It really forces us to confront some uncomfortable questions.
Deeply uncomfortable questions about what creativity even is and, fundamentally the issue of human consent.
It's way more than just a novelty. For some, it's an active threat, and it's a fascinating and, frankly, terrifying development. Our mission today is to unpack this entire controversy step by step, exactly as our sources presented it.
From her creation right through to the legal mess she represents.
Okay, let's get right into it. Who or what exactly is Tilly Norwood?
So our sources tell us Tilly is Hollywood's first fully AI-generated character, and she's designed to lead a production.
And she was created in 2025, right, by a Dutch producer, Alain van der Velden.
That's right, in partnership with a tech firm called Particle 6. But what makes this immediately controversial, where the ethics start to just break down from day one, is the source material.
How she was built.
Exactly. Tilly wasn't built in a vacuum. She was trained on massive data sets. We're talking thousands of copyrighted films and, crucially, real, living human performances.
It's like a Frankenstein creation.
It is. Built from stolen moments.
And here's the really critical point that makes this different from, say, just simple CGI. She isn't just a static digital asset for one movie.
No, she has a whole persona.
A whole persona. She maintains an active public social media presence. She releases promo videos. She's got a backstory, and she's actively courting major talent agencies.
Just like any aspiring human actor would be.
Exactly. But she's entirely synthetic. She literally does not exist as a person.
And that active presence is precisely why the initial shockwave was so profound. It wasn't just some tech marvel in a lab. It was an existential threat made real.
It changed the conversation overnight.
Completely.
Yeah.
It went from AI might replace us someday to AI is now actively performing and competing for our jobs right now.
That immediate competition brings us directly to the industry's reaction, which was swift and furious.
Oh, the backlash was instantaneous.
Yeah.
And global.
The first and maybe most authoritative voice to condemn her was the union, SAG-AFTRA.
Of course. They characterized Norwood not as an artist, not as a performer, but strictly as a, and I'm quoting here, character generated by a computer program.
One that was built entirely on unconsented performances. They immediately called it a dangerous precedent.
And it wasn't just union reps and boardrooms.
No, the celebrity opposition was very vocal, very public. A-list actors, and our sources explicitly name Emily Blunt, publicly called Norwood terrifying.
So this wasn't just a fringe worry from background actors.
Not at all. This was top-tier, bankable talent seeing a fundamental threat to their livelihoods and their creative control.
And that recognition moved instantly into organized resistance. Widespread calls for boycotts started popping up almost immediately.
Boycotts against any talent agencies that would even think about signing an AI performer.
Yes, with coordinated campaigns on social media, at studio gates, it shows this immediate understanding that if AI can be represented by a traditional agency, then the line between human labor and a synthesized product just dust out. It vanishes.
So if the industry is fighting with boycotts, what about the legal field? What tools do they actually have to fight a character that's just data?
Well, that brings us to the core dilemma of ownership and consent.
Right. Norwood's AI was trained on hundreds of real actresses' likenesses, their voices, their mannerisms, all of it done without any permission.
And no compensation.
No compensation. This is the legal morass.
Right.
And it just blows up our existing consent frameworks, especially in the U.S.
It does. We have these new laws, and the sources cite them specifically, like California's AB 2602 and New York's SB 7676B.
And those were designed to fight deepfakes, right? Digital replicas of one person.
Exactly. Replicas. They require explicit consent if you use one specific person's image or voice. But Tilly Norwood isn't a deepfake of one person.
She's an AI composite.
She's a blend, a computational average of potentially thousands of people. And that composite nature That's the crucial legal loophole that just swallows the entire concept of personality rights as we know them.
So if you train an AI on hundreds of people, no single individual can claim that Tilly is their likeness.
It's too diffuse. The argument from the AI creator is that by blending so many people, they've created a new, non-identifiable entity. And this completely challenges those state laws.
Wait, so does the sheer volume of inputs actually make the legal case weaker for any single person to sue? Like, who even has standing here?
That is the critical question. And our sources point out that the sheer number of inputs makes individual legal action incredibly difficult, maybe impossible.
So the focus has to shift.
It shifts immediately, away from individual privacy rights and toward intellectual property law. Particle 6, the tech firm, they claim full IP rights over Tilly Norwood as their creation.
But the sources ask a really penetrating question.
Yeah, they do. Can you truly own something that's built from unauthorized fragments of other people's property and their performance labor?
It's fascinating. The foundation of the AI is essentially unauthorized, unpaid labor. If that labor is the cornerstone, the legal basis for claiming ownership over the final product seems incredibly weak.
It doesn't matter how much tech you throw on top. It's like trying to claim ownership of a massive song mashup where you didn't license a single sample.
That's a perfect analogy. And that brings us directly to the professional side of this.
Yeah.
The representation and contractual challenges.
Let's define the stakes. On one hand, you have the traditional talent agency model.
Right, which exists to advocate for a human client's interests. They negotiate fair contracts, they ensure safe working conditions, set hours, and fundamentally protect the artist's dignity against the studios.
That is the human baseline, established over decades of struggle. But the AI performer reality is in total stark contrast.
The AI is a product, not a person.
It's a product.
Right.
It never has a creative disagreement. It never refuses work because it's exhausted. It never demands breaks or health benefits. It is a tireless, efficient, infinitely malleable resource.
And that efficiency is the high-stakes issue because it undermines decades of hard-won rights. I mean, we just saw the 2023 Hollywood strike,
where the union secured crucial protections for human actors, specifically against having their likenesses used for digital replication without negotiation and compensation.
and Tilly Norwood threatens to erase those gains overnight.
Completely. By existing as labor without rights, AI performers give studios this massive financial incentive to just bypass human negotiations. They threaten to create a race to the bottom in working conditions for everybody.
The second a studio can choose an AI that costs less and never complains over a human who needs a union contract.
The human worker is immediately at a disadvantage.
And this goes so far beyond one AI actress. It's about the future economy of creative work. It's about the solvency of the middle-class creative worker.
Which naturally leads us to the next battleground, the
Sure.
philosophical one, the artistic and human element debate. We have to move from contracts to the question of what actually makes art art.
Experts, like those from the UC Davis theater programs in our sources, they really highlight this. They emphasize that genuine acting requires lived experience, vulnerability, genuine human emotion.
Dimensions that AI simply cannot authentically access. It can simulate behavior, sure, maybe flawlessly, but it can't live a role.
That distinction is key, isn't it? That simulation versus lived experience.
It's everything. Human performers bring something irreplaceable. Spontaneity, mistakes, unique, maybe even awkward interpretations that come from a complex internal life. The sources call this the value of beautiful imperfection.
But AI, since it's trained on averages, just flattens behavior into statistically predictable patterns.
And the sources warn this risks the othering of authentic humanity on screen. It could train audiences to prefer flawless, predictable performances over genuine, complex human expression.
And yet, there's a paradox here that complicates everything.
A profound one. Despite lacking consciousness or a soul, AI characters like Tilly can still evoke genuine emotional responses from an audience.
We know she's fake, but we might still cry when she cries on screen.
So what does that mean for our relationship with art? Are we connecting with true art, or just a sophisticated manipulation of data that's been trained on our emotional triggers?
It's staggering. We're reacting to a ghost. And that reaction leads us right into the ethical concerns, exploitation and equity.
Right. Who actually benefits from this, and who pays the price?
The structure of the AI model seems to primarily benefit one group, wealthy tech creators and their investors.
They're the ones harvesting workers' images and performances without fair compensation. It just concentrates wealth and power right at the very top of the creative pyramid.
And the people paying the price are the foundation of the industry. The working actors, background performers, emerging talent.
They're the ones facing displacement, even as their own likenesses and performances are being scraped to fuel the AI's training. All unpaid, all uncredited.
It's a theft of foundational labor.
It is, and it creates a moral hazard. The resources that should be funding the next generation of creatives are instead being used to build the tools that will eliminate their jobs.
So Tilly Norwood really sparks a debate about equity. Will AI democratize opportunity? Or will it just concentrate power and wipe out the creative middle class?
The current evidence points heavily toward the latter.
It's crucial, though, that we pause the critique and look at the counterargument from the source of all this provocation. Let's talk about Elaine van der Velden, Tilly's creator.
She sees Norwood not as a simple replacement for humans, but as a deliberate creative work. And, perhaps more provocatively, as a form of social commentary.
She believes the technology itself can be an artistic medium. She actually designed Norwood explicitly to spark this conversation.
She wanted to confront society's anxieties around technological disruption head-on.
She intended for Tilly to be a lightning rod.
And she takes a very proactive,
Yeah.
almost combative stance. She argues that AI creations can actually generate new jobs, new forms of artistry we can't even imagine yet.
Her message to the industry is to stop resisting and start controlling it.
Proactively control AI, shape its ethical development, rather than just fighting it and guaranteeing you fall behind.
It's a bold challenge. Instead of fighting the wave, build the boat. But whether that boat is seaworthy, that depends entirely on the legal frameworks we put in place.
Which brings us to our final analysis. What does the Tilly Norwood case reveal about our broader AI future?
First and foremost, it exposes massive, glaring governance gaps.
Huge gaps.
Mm.
This is the ultimate test case. It reveals this urgent need for clear international rules on authorship, rights, representation, liability.
Ethical sourcing for AI-generated talent. Our current legal systems were designed for a physical world. They're just not ready for this.
And this vulnerability isn't just in Hollywood. The sources warn about the profound cross-industry impact.
This challenge foretells similar issues in any sector using AI to simulate human expertise.
We're talking about systems simulating bedside manner in healthcare or judicial decision-making in law. Anytime you synthesize human intelligence and creativity, you run into this exact same problem of source, consent, and accountability.
Precisely. Tilly Norwood forces us to fundamentally rethink creativity, labor, ethics, even our own identity in what is rapidly becoming a hybrid human-AI world.
It's a core challenge to the definition of work and value itself.
So after all this, what does this mean for us, the audience? The sources conclude that Tilly Norwood is much more than an AI actress.
She's a mirror.
A mirror, reflecting our deepest cultural fears, the limitations of our legal system, and all these ethical dilemmas we've ignored for too long. She is the physical manifestation of our technological anxiety.
But also of technological possibility. The ultimate takeaway is that the future demands incredibly nuanced frameworks. Frameworks that have to balance this relentless drive for innovation with the absolute necessity of maintaining human dignity, fairness, and artistic authenticity.
So to sum up, we've covered the complexity of Tilly Norwood, from her training on thousands of real performances, unpaid labor, to the legal and ethical quagmire she represents for unions, agencies, and the very definition of art.
And the conversation is just beginning. We have to keep asking the hard questions. How do we ensure AI enhances rather than erodes the human spirit in art and work? Should agencies really represent AI performers? Or is that a fundamental conflict of interest?
And for you, the listener,
Where do you draw the line? Between innovation that respects its source material and innovation that is just sophisticated, automated exploitation.
these are the critical questions that will define the next decade of work and the future of storytelling. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the urgent intersection of art, labor, and technology.
We'll see you next time.